What would you do if the woman you marry only said, "I do," to destroy you? On the third night of their honeymoon, Andrew's bride vanished into the ocean, her lace scarf the only thing left behind. But when he found her secret journal, the truth hit harder than death. Patricia had married him for one reason: vengeance. And her disappearance was not an accident. It was her final punishment. On a bright morning in Cape Town, the sea looked like a huge blue glass bowl. Andrew Adams held his new wife's hand and laughed as the water touched their feet. "Patricia, this place is like a dream," he said. She smiled, eyes shining. "Let's swim. The loser will buy dinner." They raced forward, splashing water like children. Andrew dove under a small wave, came up and wiped water from his face. He turned to call her name. Patricia. She wasn't there. A bigger wave rolled. He scanned left and right. Nothing. He shouted again, voice cracking. "Patricia?" People turned. A lifeguard blew a whistle. The beach changed from joy to fear in seconds. Swimmers rushed out. 2 lifeguards dashed in with a float. Andrew's heart hammered like a drum. He ran along the shore, eyes burning, feet sinking into wet sand. "Please help me, my wife," he cried to anyone who would listen. A woman pointed at a lace scarf floating near the foam. Andrew grabbed it. It was Patricia's white scarf with tiny gold lines. Torn. Cold. He clutched it to his chest and was shaking. Police arrived. Tourists whispered. A reporter lifted a camera. Andrew tried to run back into the sea, but a lifeguard held him. "Sir, it's too rough now," Andrew sobbed. "I can't lose her. Not today. Not ever." Over and over, the ocean breathed in and out like a giant animal that did not care. By evening, the light turned orange, then gray. No one found her. Andrew sat on the sand, shaking, the scarf on his lap. A little boy came close. "Uncle, will she come back?" Andrew swallowed hard and lied. "Yes." But the wind carried the answer away. As the last rescue boat returned empty, a question cut through Andrew's mind like a knife. What if she did not drown? The sea did not answer. Only a long, dark silence that felt like the start of a story he didn't want to hear. The scarf wasn't just torn. It smelled faintly of Patricia's favorite perfume. And something sharp, like new paint from a boat. A week later, Andrew returned to Port Elizabeth like a shadow wearing his clothes. He moved into the quiet guest room of a small hotel, too afraid to enter their rented apartment that still held balloons and a "just married" banner. Port Elizabeth's streets felt slow and heavy, like they knew a sad secret. Taxis honked. Children chased a ball near a shop. Somewhere, a radio played a gospel song. Life continued, but Andrew's own life felt paused on a painful frame. He finally unlocked the apartment. Inside, Patricia's shoes sat by the door, neat and bright, feet-shaped memories. A bouquet, now dry, leaned in a vase. Wedding photos were spread on the dining table. Church steps, wide smiles, rice in the air, friends clapping. Andrew touched a picture and whispered, "Patty, answer me." The only sound was the fridge humming, like a low, tired bee. He called his best man, Michael. "I feel crazy," Andrew said. "It happened too fast, like a trick." Michael sighed. "My guy, grief will play games with your head. Rest, pray, we'll keep searching." Andrew ended the call and opened the wardrobe to pack her things for her mother in Lagos. He folded a red dress, her favorite Ankara scarf, and the white lace scarf, which he had cleaned and dried. It still carried that soft perfume and that strange, sharp smell he couldn't place. On the top shelf, behind a stack of boxes, his knuckles hit a wooden panel. It shifted. He frowned, leaned closer, and pressed. The panel popped open, just a little, like it had been waiting for the right touch. He pulled it down. A slim leather notebook slid into his hands, brown cover, gold edges. He sat on the bed and opened to the first page. Her handwriting danced across the paper, neat, patient, careful. The first line was simple and gentle, yet it turned his blood to ice. "My name is Patricia Adebayo. This is the story of why I married Andrew Adams." The next line began with a name Andrew had not heard in years, Anita, and the room suddenly felt too small to hold what was coming. Andrew stared at the name until the letters blurred. Anita. He closed the journal, stood, and paced. "No," he muttered. "It can't be the same person." He opened again. Patricia had drawn a small sunflower on the margin, something she did when thinking. The page said, "My sister, Anita, once loved a man who played with her heart and left her to drown in shame." Andrew's throat went dry. Years ago in Lagos, Andrew had been a marketing golden boy. Smooth talker, sharp suit, big smile. He loved attention and hated slow days. Anita was a quiet intern with bright eyes and fast ideas. She fell for him like rain on dry ground. He told her sweet things, promised calls, and promised a future. When she got pregnant, he changed. "Anita, this is bad timing," he had said. "You know my ambitions. Please, take care of it." He sent money and words that were soft outside and hard inside. She cried for days. He stopped answering her calls. When Andrew later heard that Anita had fallen into deep sadness and did not make it, he told himself the world was cruel, not him. He pushed it away and walked faster into his career, his fresh suits, his bigger house, his louder friends. When regret knocked, he turned up the music. If anyone asked, he said, "It was complicated," then ordered another drink. Now holding Patricia's journal, the old ghost stood in the doorway. He whispered, "God have mercy." He flipped ahead. Patricia described meeting him at a charity event, how she had smiled and how he had smiled back, how she had asked innocent questions, how she watched the way he avoided talking about the past. She wrote of their first date, the one he bragged about to Michael. "Bro, this babe is perfect." She wrote of his jokes, his gentle touch, his plans for a future where love could cover any stain. She wrote it all, and under each sweet memory, her pen left a thin shadow. "I need him to feel what we felt." Andrew dropped the book on the bed. "Patricia, who are you?" he whispered. The mirror across the room showed him a man he didn't fully know. He picked the book back up, hands shaking, and turned the page. A clipped photo fell out. Patricia with a woman who looked like Anita, both smiling. On the back, a date and a warning. "Debts don't vanish, Andrew. They return." He read on. Patricia's words were clear, simple, and heavy. "I loved my sister. When she was gone, our mother folded into herself like paper in rain. I watched Andrew online, his promotions, his travels. He looked happy. My grief looked at his smile and felt robbed." Patricia explained how she waited, learned, and planned. She did not plan to kill him. No. She wanted him to live with a question that bites the heart. Where did my love go and why? She moved to South Africa for work months before they met, but her eyes never left Andrew's timeline. When fate placed him at that charity event, she switched from watching to acting. Their love story was a stage built on true laughter, but under the floor, sharp nails waited. She picked details he loved, books, music, jokes, but she also set quiet traps. She kept the journal, she learned his patterns, she prepared a hidden exit. Andrew's breath became short. He remembered the honeymoon moments, how Patricia chose the beach far from the hotel crowd, how she said, "Let's swim, but not too far." He remembered the odd scent on the scarf, like fresh paint. She wrote, "The boat was part of the plan. Not a big one. Just enough to pull away without noise. The driver owed my family a favor." Andrew closed his eyes. He saw the wave, the whistle, the torn lace, and a white speedboat far beyond the surf, tiny as a fingernail, sliding away while he cried her name. He stood and punched the wardrobe once. Pain rang up his arm. He whispered, "Patricia, you turned our wedding into a mirror." He looked around the room. Every flower, every ribbon, every gift now felt like a laugh he didn't understand. The story sharpened. She had married him to make him feel empty as they felt empty. A knock at the door broke the silence. Andrew froze. Another knock. "Who is it?" he asked. A soft voice answered, "Room service." He had ordered nothing. He opened the door a few inches. A plain envelope sat on the floor, no one in sight. He picked it up with careful fingers and slid out a single photo. Cape Town water, a white scarf, and a dark shape beneath the surface that wasn't a person at all. It was a rope tied to a small anchor, tangled in lace. On the back of the photo, a fresh message in the same careful hand. "Do you still think loss is an accident?" News traveled fast. A blogger in Port Elizabeth posted, "Nigerian groom's bride lost at sea. Mystery deepens." Soon, cameras came. Neighbors whispered. Andrew decided to face them. On Sunday, at Grace Fountain Church, he stood with the pastor's permission and told the truth he knew so far. The church was full. Choir in purple robes, mothers in elegant attire, young people with phones ready. The pastor nodded for him to speak. "My people," Andrew began, voice rough, "I am lost. My wife is missing. But I found a journal that says she planned everything." Gasps spilt through the hall like broken beads. Someone said, "Ha!" Andrew swallowed. "Her sister was Anita. Years ago, I hurt Anita. I lied. I left. She didn't survive it. Her family suffered. Patricia married me to make me taste the same pain." A woman stood from the back, face covered with a scarf. So you admit you broke a life and walked away? She asked. Andrew blinked. Who are you? The woman lowered her scarf. Lines of grief framed her eyes. I am Mrs. Adebayo, Anita's mother. The church fell silent as a grave. She walked slowly down the aisle, leaning on a young man, Frank, Anita's cousin. We have carried this pain for years, she said. Today, let the truth stand on 2 feet. Andrew's knees felt weak. Mrs. Adebayo, I am sorry. Tears rolled. The pastor stepped in. Let us not fight, he said. Let God judge and heal. But let us also seek the whole truth. Mrs. Adebayo held up a phone. Then hear this, she said. She pressed play. A voice note filled the church, Patricia's voice. Mummy, if this message reaches you, it means I am gone from his eyes, not from life. I did this so he will learn. I am safe. Do not worry. The crowd exploded. Shouts, cries, phones held high. Andrew grabbed the pulpit. Where is she? He asked, voice shaking the microphone. Mrs. Adebayo looked at him with old fire. If you want to find her, go back to every place where you once hid from the truth, she said. Start in Lagos. The pastor raised both hands to calm the storm. The choir hummed a low hymn. Cameras flashed like lightning. As Andrew stepped down, Michael rushed to him with eyes wide. Bro, you just got a message from a private number. An address in Lagos and 2 words. Come alone. Andrew flew to Lagos that night. The city greeted him with hot air, loud horns, and roasted corn smoke curling from roadside stands. He slept a little and woke before dawn, pushing through streets that felt both familiar and new. The address led to a quiet street where an old compound stood with peeling paint and a mango tree leaning over the gate like a guard. He knocked. A teenage girl opened, chewing gum. Good morning, Andrew said, voice low. I was asked to come alone. She stared at him like a puzzle. You are Andrew, she said, not asking. She waved him in and pointed to a small sitting room with a plastic fan and chairs that creaked. The walls held faded photos, a young woman in a school uniform, Anita, another with 2 girls at the beach, Anita and Patricia, smiling. A door opened. Uncle Bayo, tall and calm, walked in. Sit, he said. Andrew sat. Uncle Bayo poured water and watched him drink. I used to hate you, he said plainly. I still don't like you. But hatred is a fire that burns the owner first. I'm tired of smoke in my chest. Andrew nodded, shame heavy. Where is she? Uncle Bayo tapped the arm of his chair. Patricia is safe, he said. She planned her exit with people who owed us kindness. She thinks this will teach you the taste of silence and fear. Andrew closed his eyes. It has, he whispered. More than I can bear. Bayo's face softened a little. Good, but learning is not perfect until you repair what you broke. Anita's memory deserves a good life. Andrew wiped his face. Tell me what to do. Uncle Bayo took a long breath and said you will face Patricia. He slid a small card across the table. On it, a date and a time. Come alone, he said again. If you bring the police or cameras, the door will stay closed. As Andrew stood to leave, the teenage girl called from the hallway, Uncle, the TV. They turned. A news banner flashed, Honeymoon bride found? And a blurred photo of a woman who looked like Patricia entering a safe house by the sea. 2 days later, the address led to a quiet street near the water, where the wind smelt of salt and new paint. The same sharp note Andrew had caught on the scarf. He knocked. The door opened to reveal Mrs. Taylor, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes. You must be tired, she said. Come. Inside, the house was simple. White curtains, a neat table, a pot of stew on the stove. In the corner, a suitcase sat ready. From the side room came the soft sound of slippers. Patricia appeared, alive, real, hair tied back, face bare. 2 weeks of hiding had carved a new hardness into her soft features. Andrew's knees weakened. Patty, he whispered, you're alive. She held his gaze and voice steady. I told my mother I'm safe. I didn't owe you that comfort. He stepped closer and stopped. I read the journal, he said. I know who you are. Patricia nodded. Good. Then you also know who you are. They stood in a circle of quiet that felt like a drawn line on the floor. Mrs. Taylor excused herself to the kitchen, giving them the room. Andrew spoke first. He told the truth, all of it. He told how he lied, how he ran, how he wore a charm like a white shirt over a dirty chest. He told how he had tried to forget Anita by moving faster. I am sorry, he said, voice breaking. I am late, but I am sorry. Patricia's eyes filled. Late apologies still arrive, she said, but the house they find has changed. Andrew reached into his pocket and placed a key on the table. This opened our apartment, he said. It can now open whatever you decide to lock behind you. Patricia looked at the key, then at him. You will not see me again, she said. Not as a wife, not as a friend. Your ring, keep it, or throw it away. My life will heal elsewhere. Andrew nodded, lips shaking. I accept. He turned to go, then paused. I will build something in Anita's name, he said. Not to wash my guilt with paint, but to pull others from the water. Patricia's face cracked just a little. Do it quietly, she said. Let the work speak. Andrew opened the door. A flash, 2 cameras exploded with light outside the gate. A reporter shouted, Patricia, Andrew, is this a fake death story? Andrew's body blocked the doorway. Leave her alone, he said. No story for you here. A third figure stepped from a parked car, Inspector Linda, and raised a badge. There is a story, she said, and the law wants to hear it from both of you. At the station, Inspector Linda listened with a face that did not clap for pity. She recorded everything. Andrew's past, Patricia's plan, the boat, the safe house, the journal. You broke a heart and helped break a life, she told Andrew. And you, madam, staged a disappearance that wasted public resources. Patricia lowered her eyes. I will pay the fines, she said. I never meant to stir the police, only his soul. Linda tapped her pen. Courts punish with bars or fines, but sometimes heaven punishes with mirrors. She looked between them. I will recommend community service, not jail, both of you. Andrew blinked. Me too? Linda nodded. Yes, you will fund and physically help a weekly clinic for girls at risk. You will listen. You will show up when no camera is watching. And you, she turned to Patricia, will serve in counseling training. If we must heal a wound, let all the hands that caused it help to close it. Weeks turned into months. In Victoria Island, Andrew carried boxes, fixed chairs, painted a small hall, and sat quietly in the back while a nurse taught about choices and safety. He washed floors after meetings. He said little, but when a girl asked, Uncle, why are you helping us? He answered, because I didn't help when it mattered before now. Patricia trained with Mrs. Taylor to guide young women through storms of shame and fear. Sometimes she saw Andrew from far across the hall. They did not speak. But the work stitched something between them, not romance, not friendship, just a thin, clean thread called truth. Mrs. Adebayo visited one Saturday. She held the clinic's door and whispered, Anita, rest small. One late afternoon, Inspector Linda came with papers. Your service hours are complete, she said. The court is satisfied. She watched them both. Are you satisfied? Patricia looked at the busy room. Girls laughing, a nurse writing on a board, Andrew changing a light bulb on a ladder. She exhaled. I am not happy, she said, but I am done with revenge. Andrew climbed down, hands dusty with light. I am not forgiven, he said softly, but I will keep doing the work. As Linda left, she handed Andrew a sealed envelope. This reached my office for you, she said. The sender's name made his hands tremble. From Anita, voice note. Andrew sat alone in the small office, door closed, heart loud. He opened the envelope. A flash drive. He plugged it into the old desktop. A file blinked. Anita, for Andrew, recorded by Dr. Sosa. His throat closed. He clicked. A gentle voice filled the room, tired but warm. Andrew, if you ever hear this, it means someone thought truth might help you one day. I don't hate you. I was hurt. I was alone. But even in my darkest hour, I prayed God would take my pain and turn it into light for somebody. I wanted you to become better than the boy who ran. Andrew wept like a roof under heavy rain. The voice continued. If this finds you, let it push you to do one brave thing. Stand and be a wall for someone. Don't spend your life hiding from mirrors. One day, find a way to help a girl like me. That would make me smile. The file ended. The room felt large and bright, like a window had opened. Patricia knocked softly and entered, worry on her face. Are you okay? He nodded, wiped his eyes, and played the message again. She listened, hands pressed to her mouth. When it finished, she sank into a chair. Her voice, she whispered, eyes wet. I miss her. Andrew handed her a tissue. Me too, he said, voice shaking. I'm sorry that my sorry arrived after the rain. Patricia looked at him with a strange new peace. Sometimes late rain still saves a farm, she said. They walked into the hall together. Girls lined up for snacks. Mrs. Taylor laughed with a mother. The building smelled of soap and fresh paint, not of hospital or fear. Patricia turned to Andrew. From today, the clinic will carry her name, she said. Anita's Light. Andrew bowed his head. Thank you, Patricia added. And you will not be the face, you will be the hands. He smiled a little. Yes, the hands. Outside, the sun folded itself into evening. Andrew stood by the door, steady for the first time in years. He knew his story would not get a happy ever after with Patricia. But inside his chest, something right had finally stood up. A small crowd gathered at the gate, neighbors, church members, a few girls' parents, clapping. Someone called out, "Tell us the full truth tonight at the community hall." And the lights there were already coming on. The community hall filled with faces Andrew once feared. The pastor from Grace Fountain came. Mrs. Adebayo came wearing a simple wrapper. Inspector Linda stood at the back. Michael sat in front, eyes proud and worried. Patricia took a quiet seat near the aisle. A microphone waited on the small stage. Andrew walked up slowly. "My name is Andrew Adams," he said. "I came to confess, not to perform. Years ago I hurt Anita. I lied. I ran. She didn't survive her sadness. I hid from mirrors. Then I married her sister without knowing the truth. Patricia made me taste the pain of not knowing. You might think her plan was wicked. Maybe it was. Maybe it was the only language my stubborn heart could read." The hall was silent. He continued. "I am not here to ask for applause or to erase the past. I am here to say, I will turn my breath into help. Anita's light clinic will grow. Quietly, truly. If you see me fall, call me back to the work." He looked at Patricia. She nodded once, firm. He looked at Mrs. Adebayo. She stood, her voice soft. "Son," she said, "pain taught you a lesson your comfort refused to teach. This is our proverb. When the fire burns your foot, you learn to respect the ash. Let the lesson stay." The hall murmured. Inspector Linda stepped forward, hands behind her back. "Justice is not only prison," she said. "Sometimes justice is a life that chooses to do right when nobody claps." Andrew placed the microphone down. Outside, children chased each other beneath new streetlights the clinic had helped fix. A girl from the sessions tugged his sleeve. "Uncle," she said, "thank you." He smiled. "Thank Anita," he replied. Patricia walked past, eyes calm. Their marriage was over, but the work had a future. In the doorway, Mrs. Adebayo touched Andrew's shoulder and whispered the final words that closed the circle. "A heart learns by what it suffers, but a wise heart turns that suffering into shelter." He nodded, holding those words like a lamp for the long road ahead. The hall emptied into the night, but it did not feel dark. Somewhere far away, a wave rose and fell, and this time, nobody disappeared. When you break a heart, you break a world. But when you repair with truth and service, God turns shame into shelter for others. What lesson did you learn from this story? Let us know in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, and share to support more powerful stories. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode of our life-changing tales.